What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy. Welcome back to my vlog, and kind of following up on the prior video about like generations and the gap and the lack of understanding between them and that kind of stuff. One of the things that young people today often get kind of knocked on is a lot of older people will say that social media is actually making them less social, or in some cases, even so far as antisocial. I'm actually kind of simultaneously in this video going to agree and disagree with that statement. And this is where I'm gonna be getting super duper picky with my wording and how I'm defining certain terms. The way you look at these terms kind of is the sticking point of where that falls apart or holds true, the whole notion of social media being social or not. Where I will say that I agree to an extent is because it seems to me kind of like we're trading, more of the like deeper relational kind of social life, the kind of thing that most older people mean when they really say social, as in like spending time with friends, doing stuff together with people in the same place. So I would say, in light of that, I would agree that social media is making us less social, because rather than being in groups of people and doing stuff together, we're just kind of doing more of our own thing when it comes to social media. Where I say it's kind of right and kind of wrong, what makes me claim that as the full truth of the matter is, if you look at the definitions of social, there are some multiple meanings to it. We are kind of, in a sense, trading one for the other, I would say. Again, went back, looked it up online, and so I would say that on the whole, when it comes to social media, we're generally trading in more of, say, definitions 2A and 4A that are based on, deep, trusting relationships and spending time physically with each other. We're kind of trading that in for definitions 3 and maybe kind of 1, where it's more like we're just kind of putting ourselves out there for the general populace, and, we kind of just tend towards the people that say and think, or in this case type and think, in a way similar to what we do. So the kind of quote-unquote groups that we form are more just based on general groupthink than anything else. Whereas we're not necessarily forming so much interdependent relationships with each other anymore. And social media definitely is not great for doing that. It's great for finding people, introducing yourself to people, but it's hard to really get too far beyond that just through some sort of digital media. Okay, here's where my picky wording comes in. I think with social media, we're trading in our sociality, and yes, that's a word, I looked it up. I would say, especially looking at definition number 2 here, we're kind of trading in our tendency to form actual physical social groups of people that do stuff together and legitimately care about each other, more so for these digital online groups of people that just kind of think and feel the same way. We're trading in our sociality, or like real interdependent companionship, for more sociability, which is more so just like, if you're going to a party with all sorts of people you don't necessarily even know. Sure, there's some you do, but there's some you don't, and to those people that you don't know, you don't want to offend them, so you're kind of friendly, you act nice toward them, but it's not necessarily being so much social as sociable. So the main purpose of social media is, of course, to kind of put yourself out there to, seek companionship, like it says here, but it's more so just kind of the exchanging pleasantries type of stuff. Again, being friendly, not necessarily being real friends that are getting together and talking about each other's issues, trying to help each other through their struggles, or anything that real deep companionship is really all about. So at this point, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference between being friends and being friendly? Well, let's look at the definitions here. Now, especially for friendly, you look at definition 1A, where it's, showing kindly interest or goodwill. That's not really necessarily something that I would call friendship. I mean, sure, you're okay with the person, you maybe even kind of like them a little bit, but heck, even the only thing required to be friendly is you look at 1B, to not be hostile to each other. So really, it's like, this isn't the kind of person you're necessarily going to confide your secrets in or anything like that. It's more so just somebody that, you get along with, you talk to them sometimes. These are the kind of quote-unquote friends that we're making on Facebook and other social media platforms. Again, really just kind of being nice to each other in general and not really seeking that deep sense of companionship that comes with truly being friends. I mean, really, if we're being honest with each other, a lot of our Facebook friends are more like acquaintances or maybe a slight step above acquaintances rather than a true friend, which is what I'm going to get to in just a couple seconds here. So when it comes to being friends versus being friendly, okay, yes, some of the friendly definitions kind of carry over to being friends as well. Like, you look at either of definition 2, part A or B, and those are both really just kind of people that happen to be in proximity to each other, or people that, just don't hate each other. But you look at some of the other definitions, and this is where I personally feel kind of the separation a bit between being friendly and being friends. Like, you look at 1A, where people are attached to each other by affection or esteem. It's like there's a mutual respect and appreciation of each other there, rather than just kind of, being in proximity or not hating each other. Or, especially if you look at definition 4, someone who is a favored companion, you're not playing any favorites on social media. You're not saying, oh, I like this person more than I like that person on social media. You're just kind of branching out to all the people in any kind of circle of yours, even some people that you might not necessarily know, depending on which platform you're using. So that's where I really kind of separate being friends from being friendly, is where it comes into that, favored companionship and building those deep relationships based on affection and esteem and things like that. So because of our language and our wording and the way we do things like that, the way we mix and match these terms and these definitions, it gets really confusing. So again, really, when it comes to social media, I would say that in terms of building deep, trusting relationships, it does not help. Or at least it does not help much. It is really hard to build a strong relationship just through some sort of digital media. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's making us completely antisocial. It's more like we're trading one type of social for another, especially when it comes to, posting stuff on Facebook and Twitter and all that. It's more of just a general outreach. I mean, anybody can see that stuff. I mean, unless you put your settings in a certain way so that only your friends can see it or whatever. But even then, it's more so just a general expression, a general outreach to people who might have any kind of interest in you and what you're doing in life, rather than the people who are actually really, really close to you, the people that you would confide really, really private information with. I think rather than really being social media, it's more like sociable media, where we're trading these deep relationships with trusted friends for more just kind of general, somewhat pleasant interactions with people that we maybe kind of know. And even then, that's not always the case, because sometimes we'll get into arguments on social media and that kind of stuff. You know, as I think about it, me doing this thing right here, it's kind of social in a sense, almost more from the sociability standpoint, though. But again, I am not necessarily giving up personal interactions with great friends. Really, the main problem I have with that is that my good friends are 1,500 miles away in Pennsylvania while I'm in Texas. Not that I can't make friends around here, but it's a little bit more difficult having that kind of trusting relationship that's been built over years when you've only been somewhere for like a year and a half. That's going to do it this time around, I guess. So, like and share if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel to see more of my content as I post it. Feel free to leave a comment down below on different things that I could talk about, whether it's related to social media or it's whatever it might be. Just any ideas for things that I can do video-wise. Leave a suggestion down below in the comments section. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you in the next video. Later.